Was that when you're on time to start? I'm waiting for the call at this point. That's time. One, one, one. You and I are so connected, and a heart to heart, a golden thread, and through it we can feel, we feel love, 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 and through it we unite as one. You and I are so connected, heart to heart, a golden thread, and through it we can feel, we feel love, love, love. Through it we unite as one. I'm waiting for direction. Oh, this is.
Stanton Welch, we are so grateful that he is here with us today. So we're going to start with the opening song, and that's you. They don't want me to sing.
All right, you've been hearing the opening song.
All right,
so,
let's do it.
But let's sing it together. Why not? Let's do a call and response. You and I are so connected. Here we go. You and I are so connected. Heart to heart, a golden thread. Heart to heart, a golden thread. And through it we can feel, come on, through we can feel, we feel love, love, love. We feel love, love, love. And through it we unite. Here we go. And through it we unite as one. As one. You and I are so connected. You and I are so connected. Heart to heart, a golden thread. Heart to heart, a golden thread. Through it we can feel love, love, love. Through we can feel love, love, love. Through it we unite. Through it we unite as one, and through it we unite as one. One more.
And through it, we reunite as one. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and we are so blessed. You know, as we gather, first of all, we want to welcome you. We want to welcome you to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, where we gather to remember that we are one, where we look at our lives and who we are and the way that we touch our world, and we realize that we are all created to be a part of that tapestry that tapestry of humanity. And every one of us came with the perfect pieces of that tapestry. We have our parts, our golden thread. And so as we gather this morning, I just want to welcome you, whether you're in this space, you're in our virtual family. Sometimes people tell me they heard it 3 weeks later and they call and say, thank you, we heard this or we heard that. But it's the ability for us to remember who we are. You know, Rumi said, I am not this hair, I am not this skin, I am the soul that lives within. I am the soul that lives within. You are the soul that lives within. And in just a moment, as we begin in prayer, we have the ability not just to hold a space within our heart for who we are and where we are moving, but we have the ability to hold that for our planet. And to recognize that divine life, the very energy and the vibrating, vitalizing energy of the universe is everywhere present. Everywhere present. There's a picture here that's been in my family since 1994. It's a picture of the banyan tree in Lahaina. And that's been one of the sacred places that I've visited almost every year and have just held that space. And what they're saying is there's still life in those roots, in that tree. And whether or not, whatever that tree decides it's going to do, we can hold a space of life for all of Lahaina, for all that appears to be lost, to know there's a vitalizing, directing energy that is within every being affected. And they have the ability to rise further, to hold their hearts, to heal, and to be a part of the movement of humanity. So as we begin this service in prayer, if you've had tough times this week and you've been outside of your heart space, I just invite you to move into your heart. For you are the soul, you are the essence of the universe, and we are that essence. Let's begin this service in prayer. Mother, Father, God, infinite Spirit, we are open. This moment, we are open to all of the life, all of the energy, the very vibration of the evolutionary impulse on this planet. We know that it moves through us, and we extend our arms around this globe, knowing that every being, everywhere, those that are in pain, those that are wondering, how do I get out of this? We hold you in the light as the light. And we see a consciousness that continues to grow on this planet, knowing we are one, knowing love is the path that we walk, and knowing that together we create the future. The divine life of every being gathers together to move forward in peace. And so it is. Amen. And so we're happy to have you here. Beth is coming up to share with you, I think.
Good morning. It's great to see you all with us today. We first want to honor our prayer chaplains who are here every week. Every day they are holding sacred space for this spiritual community for each one of you. They are available to pray with you following the service. If you have something on your heart you would like to share, they will be here up front. If you're not ready to share that in person yet, we have prayer requests in the backs of the chairs. You can fill those out. You can drop them in our prayer box here, and they will hold those for you for 30 days. There is also a prayer chaplain every week who changes the dial of prayer every day. So if you need a little midweek lift, you can call that number. And if you haven't figured it out yet, every Sunday morning at 10:30, they are holding a wonderful guided meditation in the chapel that you all are invited to come and take part in. So we thank you for all the service that you give to this community. Well, today, following the service, we have a Course in Miracles workshop. Alan Watson, who has done, stand up, Alan, so they can see who you are. He is a licensed Unity teacher here, and he also leads our weekly Course in Miracles study group, which he has done for years and years. And as I mentioned last week, he's pretty famous in the Course in Miracles community. He's written commentary books on the Course in Miracles, and they have been beloved for many years and have a large and faithful following among Course students. So they're getting ready to start the course over again. Alan, how many years did it take you to get through the book? 12 or 13 years. So they have finished, they're getting ready to start over. If you're ready for this journey and you're interested, it is a life-changing journey. I know it is. And but check it out. Yeah, check it out today following the service. 1:15. Absolutely. Yeah, but it's a great group. They love meeting every week. They meet here in person. They're on Zoom. So anyway, join Alan today at 1:15 for some information about that and an informative workshop on the course. Women's group meeting downstairs today following the service. During Coffee and Connection, they'll be in one of the teen rooms, so look for them. Our Helping Parents Heal group, which is our support group for parents and family who have lost a child. That is led by Annie and Mark Adams. That has been moved to the 4th Saturday. Typically they meet the 3rd, but they're meeting next Saturday, the 26th, 10:30 in the chapel. If this is your experience, everyone is invited to come and join them. So this next Friday, there's a lot of happenings. If you're over 55, you won't even have to cook all day. There are food happenings all day. The On-Goers monthly luncheon meeting is happening at 11:30 at the Good World Chinese Restaurant on 122nd. If you didn't get your email from Don, you might want to let us know and we'll get you on that mailing list. He sends that out every month. And then Friday night is our garden party, our second summer garden party of the year. Colleen's been working very hard on that. I got a call today from Larry Wilder, who's been out on the cruise lines entertaining the masses who are sailing here and there. But he has a wonderful award-winning fiddle player who's coming with him. They have great music lined up for us. If you haven't seen Larry and his friends, it really is a fun time. We have fantastic food. I understand the smoked salmon dip is back on the menu, as well as barbecue and coleslaw. We've got all kinds of yummy tapas. We have wine for purchase also. Tickets are $20. Colleen will be downstairs today, so you can pick yours up during Coffee and Connection. I also want to mention we have a lot of these little flyers around in the lobby for the garden party. Pick up a couple of those and hand them out to your friends or family members. This is a great opportunity to invite them to come and see what our community is all about. It's a really fun evening out in our beautiful garden. So we hope you'll join us for that. Next Sunday is the last Sunday to get your donations in for the summer outreach. They are collecting for one more week, and I don't know about you, but I love buying little baby things and kid things, and that's what they're collecting. So if you like those little beautiful things, go and buy some of those. I also hear that they need diapers. Diapers, lots of diapers, all sizes. And, just how wonderful to support the youth in our community who are less fortunate and need that help. So make sure you pick up a flyer that has all of that information on it. If you're somebody who doesn't like to shop, they are open to a donation, and they've got on the pull-down menu, you can go to that summer outreach program, or you can just drop some money in the box that they have on the table. So fill up those bins next week. We're looking for a few spirit group leaders for our spirit groups, which is our small book studies. Those start again in October. Reverend Lisa will be doing our fall program, which is based on Living Untethered by Michael Singer. And Annette Boswell is our new spirit group leader. Annette, stand up so we know who you are. Thank you, Annette. So she would love to work with you. We are excited to get back to the spirit groups. So if you have an interest in that, make sure that you touch base with her today or let us know. September brings many things. We'll really start on all that next week. But our World Day of Prayer Labyrinth is going to happen on Thursday, September the 14th. I think Colleen's going to be telling you a little bit more about that in the upcoming weeks. Our Makers Meetup has moved to the second Saturday of the month. Part of that's due to Labor Day, but we think we're going to ride that to the end of the year. We have wonderful guest speakers coming up on Sundays, and we have a wonderful afternoon workshop on September 10th with Reverend Sarah Nichols. So there's just lots and lots of wonderful things upcoming here in the next few weeks. We have all the detailed information about this on our website and also in our weekly newsletter. And if you're not getting the weekly newsletter, maybe you've been coming for a while and you're not getting it, make sure you fill out one of these neon cards and hand it in to us today so we can get you on that so you don't miss anything. And boy, there's a lot of people here for the first time. I noticed coming in today, and I know a lot of you already got your welcome packets. But if you're here for the first time and you didn't get it yet, we'd like you to raise your hand so we can see where you're seated and bring you one of these. I know my greeters are doing such great jobs spotting you all as you come in the door. I think a lot of you have already received them. But on the front, there's a rose sticker. We'd love for you to peel that off and stick it to your lapel or your clothing so we know who you are and can give you a warm welcome following the service. Again, we would love for you to fill out this neon card and drop that in the offering basket or in the door on my box. We invite you to come down for Coffee and Connection. That's where we socialize every week. This week it's the men's group who are putting that on for us, so we invite you to come down for that. And if you're a virtual guest, there's a QR code that's on your screen, and you can take a shot of that and get on the mailing list that way as well. So we thank you so much, and we will see you downstairs after the service.
Thank you, thank you. All right. And we do want to welcome all of you who are here for the first time. You know, Unity is a spiritual center that invites each of us to remember who we are. And these ideas, if they serve you, I encourage you to become a part. One of the things that is so important is coming together in community. I grew up with a statement that my mother said all the time: we can get sick alone, but humanity can only heal together. And that's what we're learning right now. We're being asked to do that. But if this community doesn't work for you, I would encourage you to find a community that does, that says you are the light. You do have this within you and that you can work with. So we're happy to have you here. And we are going to sing. We're going to sing a congregational song.
Would you stand for this?
Yes.
All right, this is a call and response song. Now, I have to say, I'm in an altered state. I spent 13 hours yesterday on the Speedway, formerly known as Highway 5.
Yeah.
Jeez. But anyway, call and response. I stand here in my power. I stand here in my power. I am fully realized. I am fully real. I am free of limitation. I'm free of limitation. I'm holy, I'm divine. I'm holy, I'm divine. With endless energy and talent, I manifest my dreams. I manifest my dreams. All my cells are in alignment. My cells are in alignment. I'm as God created me. I'm as God created me. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am, I am. I stand here in my power. I am fully realized. I stand here in my power. I'm fully realized. I am free of limitations. I am holy, I'm divine. I am free of limitations. I'm holy, I'm divine. With endless energy and talent, I manifest my dreams. With endless energy and talent, I manifest my dreams. All my cells are in alignment. My cells are in alignment. I'm as God created me. I'm as God created me. I am. 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 I am.
Thank you. And we just invite you to turn to those around you and say, Namaste. We welcome you. You are that light. You are that love.
Ba-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da. Coming back. Every step I take, it's the best one. Every move I make, it's the best one. Life will keep rolling if I just keep on knowing it's on the bright side. Sunshine, let's come on back now to
Yes,
sunshine. I'm going back to my chair, sunshine.
You want next week.
Oh, that works.
We're going to take a moment. You know, I just came home from the Parliament of World Religions in Chicago. It's the 9th convening of the Parliament of the World Religions. The first one was in 1893. The second one wasn't until 1993. And they've periodically been around the world since then. Getting 7,000 people to stop talking is always an interesting thing. So we're kind of experiencing it here. But one of the things that we were invited to do, this stole has 22 of the world's religions on them. There are more, and there were many, many people. They were from every continent and traditions that I'm still learning and researching and finding out. But what they asked us to do was to continue as we left, holding all of the world's religions, this idea, and to me it's the spirituality, holding every being in an idea of coming together and walking in peace. And so as we move into a time of meditation, I just invite you to extend your heart around the world and to know that truly we are one.
When two or more are gathered in this frequency of love, we are amplified to reclaim divine. When two or more are gathered in this frequency of love, we are amplified to reclaim divine. Well, I am you, it's me to become. We are all together. And in the light that blends the two of us, truth of us, to unify oneness that I have. Yes, ha, ha, ha.
And we hold that space where we gather as part of this quantum movement of love. We breathe in an awareness that we are the universe becoming aware of itself at the point of this space, this breath, and we are one. All traditions, recognizing the divine spirit. We recognize the divine spirit that vibrates within every being, everywhere. And as we hold this in the silence, we know I am love. I am love in the silence. And from this place of knowing that the divine life, the very vibration of love, lives as each of us this day, we know that we move forward together, creating larger and larger energy fields of love. And so it is. Amen.
This is a meditation song? It's your song. So I served as a music director in the Unity of San Luis Obispo, California for almost 20 years. And very often the minister would give me a message on late Saturday when I came over playing the clubs, and then I would have an opportunity to put something together. Didn't have to, but it was a great opportunity to take the energy. So I came home one day and the message was, love the one you're with. And I went, oh, okay, I'll do that Stephen Stills song. And then I played it, and then I went, wait, that's a little different than what we're going to do in church. So I did have to, so something else came. And it was based on an event that had happened in the day when I pulled up to a corner, and there was a gentleman there who looked at me and wanted me to give him something. And I turned the corner, and it made me think again. So. While I'm standing in the line, I turn, I catch the person's eyes. I can turn away, or I can give a smile. Well, it's my chance to make a difference, to brighten up the day. I see the God within him. I send a precious love bouquet. A man, he's seeking money. He's living on the street. And I see his sign, I judge, I'm thinking he'll drink instead of eat. So I start to turn the corner. When I turn to see his face, and I see the God within him, I place 20 on his plate. Throughout the day they come, moments meant for me. And throughout the day, her life, she just lays them at my feet. And she says, have compassion, she says. Just take the risk, she says. Go on, just love the one you're with. She says, go on, just to love the one you're with. A spider in the bathtub, or the fly upon the wall, or the traffic jam, the couple fighting somewhere down the hall, or the man who cut before me, or the waitress late and rude. Within these golden moments, there lies the fundamental truth. To get the love I want, I must give that love I seek. For as I do for you, my friend, You know that someone will do for me. While these laws of love, they're written and they're embedded in the heart. So what stands right here before me, well, that's the perfect place to start. Oh, oh Lord, just give me situations to practice loving sweet and to ease the pain of living in everyone I meet. And let me grow in bunches from the inside to the out. And let me know that love is all I'll ever be about. And throughout the day there'll come all those moments meant for me. And throughout the day life, well, she just lays them at my feet. And she says, have compassion. She says, just take the risk. She says, go on just to love the one you're with. Yeah, she says, go on just to love the one you're with. Yes, she says, go on just to love the one you're with. And the people sang with me, they sang, go on just to love the one you're with. They sang it again, yeah. Oh, go on just to love the one you're with. It was beautiful, they sang it again. Just go on and love the one you're with. They sang it one more time. Go on just to love the one you're with. So I'm standing in a line. I turn, I catch the person's eyes. I can turn away, or I can give a smile.
Thank you. You're going to thank you. Mark, we are so grateful. Thank you. All right, he is going to go down now and work with our youth and sing with our youth. So thank you, God, for all that he does. For those of you who have never met Mark Stanton Welch, for decades he has been working with the middle schoolers here in this Northwest region, and they adore him, and they go into YOU, and he's worked with our high schoolers also, and they follow this music, but what they get continually is the idea that they are the love and that they can love, and that journey they're on is one of love, and that they have value and worth. And so I appreciate you. Thank you. He'll be back. It is, what a time, what a journey it's been. As I said, I came home last night, so Mark and I are not exactly in sync because he was driving and I was coming home from Chicago and working on getting this done. And in a moment, we're going to see a few pictures. I am not a photographer. And I found out after I sent all these that the good ones were actually on my daughter's phone because she's much better than I am. But we're just going to start with some of the pieces because I want to share a little bit about it, and I want to talk about the way the world is connecting. It was an amazing experience to be in a place of 7,000 to 8,000 people. But what I realized is the world is made up of people. Us, every one of us, that every day we decide, am I going to scrunch inside and be small and be angry from things that have happened and hurt? And we have to hurt. We have to go through the grief. We have to move through those pieces. But we also have to decide, today's the day I open up a little more. Today's the day I remember, oh, wait a minute, I'm a part of humanity that is struggling. There's no doubt about it. And yet we're all a part of something larger. At the Parliament, while we were at the Parliament, I want to start first. Let me go back to where it is. The Parliament was was called as a call for conscience, defending freedom and human rights. While that was going on, and we were holding that, what I want to say about our community is that for years, 16 to be exact, we've been holding a space for something called Building Bridges. When I came, I said, please, wherever I am, I have to be a part of this journey of touching other lives. And I want to share with you just some of the pictures that Building Bridges was able to support with Unity Worldwide Ministries' help. This is what we were able to support. This was the retreat for the women of Unity Church Nigeria. And will you show some of those pictures? So this is right there. Every material is something that is freely available. And not everyone has those on. Those are the women who have it on. You can see there, it's this, will you go back to the one with Reverend Ada? Let's see, next one, and the next one. This right here is Reverend Ada. She's the woman that we work with. She was ordained. She has 4 daughters who are in the university, and she manages our scholarship program, which I don't know if you know or not, and we'll get pictures when we get them, but next week, the children's ministry happens there. And we will be giving out through Building Bridges and the other programs that we manage, all of it through our ministry, we will be giving out 55 scholarships to middle school age girls in Nigeria to go to school. And some of that, just know how important it is. Some of that comes from the tithes from this ministry, some of it comes from the tithes from Unity Worldwide Ministries, and some of it is coming from a tithes from a Unity church in Detroit. But our vision is to hold this. 5 of the girls last year went on to the university, and for the first time we gave, and these are small parts of scholarship, but it feeds them. The university wants. It feeds them while they go to school. And so this right here is each of the regions, each of their states gather, and they do a dancing piece that celebrates the light that they are. And so these are some of those dances. This is at Uzuakoli, Nigeria, where I had the great honor of going and visiting. And here they are back in the main hall again. That's all cement blocks that the women built. They cover it with silk, and it's just, it's beautiful, and yet it's a dirt floor still too, some of it. So these are more of these pictures. I just wanted you to see some of the beauty of, please know how many lives we touched. What we don't have, and we will get, and what's part of that Unity of Portland started, is that many of the widows don't have enough food. And so we send money, and this is back in that main hall, and we send money, and each of them is given food that lasts probably 6 months. And that, again, is from our community. And so I just wanted to thank all of you to know while this other thing was going on, this too was going on. And it's just a beautiful opportunity. The young girls are all there, and they help and can hardly wait to where they can get to wear the dresses that represent each of these places. And it's so thank you. I just wanted you to see those pictures and to know how much Unity of Portland touches the world, and how much just simply saying, what can we do? It's amazing to see that. So at the Parliament, I was with the other leader of of Building Bridges, Reverend Helen Iware, and you'll get to see her. But we got to gather with people saying, is there a larger story, and how can we live that? The call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights. We had experts come in on education and what's happening in some of the countries, what's happening here, how we shift and move, and especially how we look at being a part of an awakening world. The ambassador from the U.S. to the United Nations said, he opened with a call. He said, we must honor differences, and yet we must have a unity of purpose. That purpose must be based on love, on peace, on inclusion, and on honoring all. And the greatest call was that idea of inclusion and honoring all. And learning that and seeing how we can do that, and finding ourselves together with people who speak different languages, who experience different things, and yet every one of them recognize that within every being is an essence that is large enough that we must honor them, hold them with dignity and respect, and to continue to move forward. Now, New Thought, and Unity is part of the New Thought movement, was called to come in as large of numbers as we could, because most of the Christian fundamental ministers, I didn't see one there, who they would not attend, because this was on human rights, girls' rights, education, and finding freedom for all. What was fascinating is the second largest group were New Thought ministers, which has never happened before. They were everywhere. It was an amazing experience. But with the group that came, the Muslims, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Confucianism, I learned of Cao Dai, which is a religion that combines, and they are on here, they are right here. It is a religion that comes out of Vietnam, and they had a huge group there. They combined Confucianism, Hinduism, and Buddhism, saying that there was too many disagreements between them. And they were beautiful souls that I just wanted us to see. But what was fascinating was that every world tradition believed the same way. The people that came were progressive enough to say, of course that's what it is. Well, and so that was it was like I called it a bath and a breath of spirit. I felt so blessed. Antonio Guterres from the United Nations, he said, we must all unite to conquer the big problems of our world today. And we must use 3 absolute tools to begin with for every human: compassion, solidarity, and respect. And he said, and that's every one of us in our individual lives. We have to find compassion for the places where people are hurting, compassion for those in pain, those we don't understand, those we have thought were other, those who are starving or have lost their way of life. Solidarity means the beginning and the willingness to stand with that, and respect for every being. And he said, every one of us can do that in our lives. Love is not present if freedom for all is not present in any situation. And so while we look at the things, we say, how do I do that? We get to ask ourselves, what are we doing? Where are we? Where are we moving forward? It was amazing that there was so little disagreement, and that everyone had a different way of saying it. Ubuntu is the African idea, I am because we are. I know you've heard it. We work with that in some of our traditions, and it comes from the African American tradition here. But Ubuntu, I am because we are. Most of us were taught I am, and I have to stand by myself. And the worldview gets to change to I am because we are. And will you go ahead and show some of the slides just of the opening and some of the pieces? The Potawatomi representatives and elders created a sacred fire, blessed the 4 directions, shared their wisdom, and began that. And with that, these are just pictures of people from different traditions. These 2 gentlemen are from Kenya. We ate lunch with them, and they talked of what they had learned and their traditions and how all of it has that light within them. We go on. This gentleman came, and I thought, wow. And he was there the whole week. He attended every single workshop, everything. And I do not know. I heard he was Druid, and then someone said, no, he comes from the pagan tradition. There was a whole group that said, this is what we celebrate, this is what we believe, and it had to do with honoring these traditions, and they were beautiful. This gentleman is Cao Dai, and it's the only picture I actually had of these beautiful beings. They brought their food, they brought their customs, they created a whole meditation space so that the traditions could gather together. And stop for a moment, okay? We're going to stop there. This is myself, Reverend Helen Aware, and my daughter Lauren, who turns 22 tomorrow. But this is something called Langar, and I want to talk about it in just a moment. I want to go on to talk for a moment. In fact, you can even turn that off if you want, and we'll do it in a minute. One of the things is the indigenous grandmothers talked about. They shared a call to all faiths and all people and all religious organizations on the planet to end all violence and to change all teachings and practices that teach violence, lack of dignity, or lack of equality of women and girls. Ideas were shared by the speakers. I mean, these ideas were powerful. The idea that we can shift teachings and beliefs is actually happening. It is happening as many of the people in these religions have gone further into what their traditions taught and realized there's mystical things that talk about the spirit within every being. The Muslims that were there shared truths that were so deep and so beautiful. And one of the things the indigenous grandmother said is, don't lose your faith. Don't lose your hope. Find the foundation of your faith. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in somebody's dogma, but we have to find the foundation of our faith and what we believe to move through times of great change. And right now there's a secular divide in the United States, and yet it's not just in the United States. And I want to bring this up. We've seen the Christian right, we've seen Christian nationalism, and I will tell you this, without the division there, we could breathe. And we could hold a space. But what I found was that, Christian nationalism is an ideology. It's formed around a domination of one race over another. It is patriarchal, exerting power and control over the people. But there is not just Christian nationalism, which is also combining religion and politics to take power and exert control. And these were notes from a representative from the United Nations, and they were talking about how we as humanity get to hold a larger picture and realize it's happening and stand clear in our faith, because so often we lose hope and we just say, oh, well, I don't know what to do. And that every one of us has a part to play in this. It may not be something large, but it is taking a step to touch humanity. And he said there is Muslim nationalism. We see it. The Taliban, other pieces, Hindu nationalism, and even Buddhist nationalism. And it's all the same thing. It's when religions say we are going to be in power, and it works to control bodies, to control people. And every one of them said we must reclaim our faith. We must involve men and women in the answers. And trauma affects our ability to meet this nationalism, to be able to speak up. And so every one of us finding, and the meditation was both taught and used in almost every tradition that I saw. I really didn't see any that didn't talk about getting quiet, recharging ourselves, recognizing that within us is a divine soul that has the love it needs right now. And every one of us does. And so if we are able to hold that, it changes it. And that allows us to speak up, to say, I believe this, in small places, individually, collectively, and globally. And some really interesting ideas were brought to the surface. We had an expert come in and talk about Iran. And Iran, what's been happening, and very often we say, well, it's their custom, it's their way. We don't want to offend them. And they were talking about the hijab and the necessity of wearing one. A new company, a Dutch organization, it's GAMAN, was able to get a survey. They were able to get into Iran, which is very unusual. Many of them cannot get surveyed. They want to find out what's really happening there. And what is happening, and this is with the nationalism that's there, they were able to get in, and with people who risked their lives, and they spoke to 150,000 people, which is a large enough number to begin to see. And in 2022, 72% of the males and females they spoke to opposed the mandatory hijab. They actually opposed them. 58% do not believe in the hijab anymore. In Iran, only 15% of the people support the regime in power. And 40 years of the Islamic regime, less than 30% still want to call themselves Muslim, according to this survey. They have left their traditions just like Christians have. At least 60% of the people have lost their religion in that country. That's the nationalism. This is not a move towards secularism. It is a movement away from nationalism. So many people come in and say, we just don't want religion anymore. What it is it's saying we are not taking a nationalism. We want spiritual practices and ideas that are inclusive. And we are not going to do that anymore. So what is happening, they believe, is that there's power being built just simply by people making individual decisions, I don't believe that way. And I'm not going to practice that way. What is important for us is to find ways to gather together in larger ideas and see something more. Parisa Krosabi was there sharing with us. She's a veteran journalist and news executive from Iran. She's covering the revolution. She's covering some of the pieces, and she spent much of her life in that regime. And she said, the greatest thing I can tell any of the women who have been affected, and her sister was one that was basically told she had to marry a certain person who was much older than her in that regime, and finally she escaped to France, and she was one of the few that did. But many of the women just simply took their lives because they did not want what was being called of. But she said, I'm not talking about your religion, I'm talking about your faith. We must find the faith in our hearts. And this is someone who has been through the tough times. Then a woman came on from Afghanistan, and literally the same thing was said. And it was fascinating. And I want to talk to you about people who have held that space and kept that religion. In just a moment, I'm going to show you pictures of Langar. Every day, during every one of the parliaments since 1993, I don't know about 1893, the Sikhs, so this is the Sikh tradition, S-I-K-H, they have come and served lunch to everyone, 7,000 lunches. These people came this time from Birmingham, England. They flew over, there were 100 of them, and they erected a tent large enough for 5,000 people. This is them serving right there. Part of their tradition is meditation, it's peace, it's serving humanity, and this is one of the ways they do it. Their center in India serves 100,000 meals a day. 100,000. This, they said, was nothing. We come... It was an amazing experience. They put you in rows, and then they go down, and then they put someone across from you. That's how I met the men from Kenya. That's how I met a gentleman from India. That's how I met people from all over the world. And then they come down the middle, and they serve you. And they sing, and they praise, and they practice something. I want to talk about, it's called Nishkam. And it means that when they make the food, they work to find the God in the food, and they believe its spirit and its energy. And before they get in, they bless the whole area, and they find the God in themselves. And then as we enter into Nishkam, it is a sacred space with sacred music. We cover our heads, and then they bring us in, and their desire is to see the God in us, so that it is God serving God as God. And literally, that's what they sing, that's what they do. You're wrapped in an idea that was so beautiful. And this is one of the youth that just sang, and they were so happy. One of the days it was pouring down rain. This is several tents together, and in the middle there was rain coming down. And they went with buckets and just stood there singing and blessing each other while it was amazing. This is another one that he flew in from another one of their centers, and he was so happy just simply to see us. And the second day we came, he just took my hands and just said, greetings, greetings. I mean, took my shoulders. It was just so beautiful. Do I have any more? This is Lauren getting her scarf on. You come in, and they are literally welcoming you all along that path, because they said it's the start of seeing God in God. And this is myself sitting with a gentleman from India, and he was here just simply to experience how many traditions had practiced spirituality. It was a wonderful thing, and he asked me many questions about the Christian tradition. And these are just simply other rows. They talk about Langar. They believe it is a solution to hunger around the world. And people started coming in from Chicago and volunteering, and they would take them. These are the two gentlemen from Kenya. This gentleman's from India. We met him, and I do not know where he was from, but it was an experience that I just wanted to share with you, to realize they've decided to live as peace. These are the people that after 9/11 in this country were, they have had real difficulties because they don't cut their hair and they wear I called it a turban, but they wear their headpiece as a sacred gift to God. And so that's part of their tradition. And I just want to share with you some of these pieces. With that, I want to talk for a moment about othering. One of the things that we learned is every one of us others another. And part of creating world peace has to do with not othering, but learning not to other. Everyone practices othering all the time. We started it when we were very young. We were taught it. You may say, no, I don't. Some people say all lives matter and they don't accept Black Lives Matter. It's like we think, nope, it's my mind. I'm in unity. I don't do this. Actually, it is a neurological thing. It's a part of our prehistoric brain. It is part of the fight or flight. Part of peace on this planet includes learning a new practice, and it requires getting conscious about this. Othering actually comes from our reptilian brain. It's a part of the old system to keep in our brain to keep us alive. It automatically differentiates like me and not like me. And we are being called to move past this. And this was in a presentation by 9 Black ministers, and it was the most powerful thing I've seen. And they said, that's the evolution we need right now. And we have to do the work, each of us individually, to consciously work on this. And the only way we can overcome this is to consciously do it. One of them said, list your friends or acquaintances by category. Whichever category you have the least people in, that's your place to start working on what you're othering. Watch when you see people here. Like me, not like me. It's an old way of seeing our world. And what we're moving to, and she said the only way we can overcome othering is to get to know others on a deeper level, a heartfelt level, giving eye contact to every person, houseless, those who walk by you, those you don't know. We are all mirrors of each other's souls. With as many others as you can, get to know their stories. With those in your community, in this community that are different, learn their hearts. Get to know their stories. The stories are what change the world. And I'm going to go over just a little bit, but I want to share with you something that for me was life-changing. It's where we take our stories, and every one of us has a story. And if our story is I've had trauma, I've had pain, I've had this, I've had that, and I'm not ready to touch the world, I want us to look at our story and say, wait a minute, I'm a part of a world. See, there are no one stories. Many times we live as if this is my story and I got to work on it. Instead, we got to learn to recognize we live in the stories of all the people around us also. And to have a larger story and to take our story and make it large enough that we have room to touch another. But I want to talk, we have the power of spirit within us, which will support us in mastering our minds. And so when we begin saying, instead of, you are not like me, in our brains and our minds, say, we are one. You and I are interconnected. We can train our brains. And we can shift the way we actually see people, and they become our sisters and our brothers. And we find that out. But there was a presentation of an award. It was given to an organization called Roots. Roots is it's a grassroots Palestinian Israel initiative for understanding, nonviolence, and transformation. And the Israeli director was the one who spoke English. So he came on stage with his friend, the Palestinian director of Roots. So the two of them together have created something that they said, we decided we have argued too long. We have lived in violence. And I want to share with you what he said, because I believe it's transformative, because we go along our lives and don't always see others. He said, this was the Israeli Jewish leader who was part of starting Roots. He said, I come from the Holy Land, but life on the ground in the Holy Land is anything but holy. Jews and Palestinians live in geographical proximity, but completely in two separate worlds. There is so little connection between them. Between the two sides, one finds prejudice, resentment, fear, hostility, and further, Jews, my people here, have all the power, and Palestinians suffer from deep, directed institutional prejudice. People are dying almost every day because of these conditions. And he said, for 33 years, I had lived in the Holy Land, but I had never had a real conversation with a Palestinian. For all those years, they were transparent. Those like me were the only ones in my story, in my world, in my movie. I lived as if my story, my Jewish story, was the only story in the land. There was no other story, no other people. Today, I hope that I know better after 9.5 years of deep and difficult, painful and productive, challenging, cathartic interactions with my Palestinian neighbors and partner, and it was the gentleman standing there. I know that there are two people in the land, two stories in the land, and that they interconnect. And to live your life as if there is only one story is to mistake part of the truth for the whole truth. I don't want to be there any longer. Anytime we've thought this is the truth and we haven't realized there are people around us that have different stories and different ideas and they've come from different places, that we're looking for a larger truth and a larger story. And he said he created something in the Holy Land that is an idea almost unheard of. We now have a Palestinian-Israeli joint community center where local people from both sides come together almost every single day for some activities such as classes, dialogue, religious celebrations, social celebrations, conversations. He said even photography workshops, learning each other's language and culture to share together in our daily lives and to learn each other's story. We also focus on activism, making life better on the ground, legal issues, and other things. 90% of the Palestinians and the Israeli Jews who come to our center have never, ever met the other side or have a conversation. They come with their anger and fear, with their prejudices and traumas, and they live their lives in the shadow of violence and pain. We discover and then he said, the first thing that always happens is humanization of the other. When we combine stories, we have to recognize you are a human. The places where this country is divided, we get to look at humans. He or she turns out not to be the demon we imagined. We discover a human being on the other side. We're surprised that they're humans just like us, and often beyond that, we are embarrassed that we are surprised. But we are oh so surprised. Humanization is difficult. At the beginning, cognitive dissonance, our brain doesn't go that way. It thinks of one story in smaller pieces, and I need to protect myself. And he said it's cognitive dissonance is created and unsettling. It's living in the unknown, and creating a larger story requires that we do that. The process begins almost immediately at the first meeting, and it continues. However, it takes quite a while to begin to see another story. But that is not the ending. There is a second level, which is the recognition of the natural identity of the other side. They have value and worth. Israeli Jews and Palestinians, by and large, construct their identities upon the erasure and nullification of the other side's identities. And in this country, there was someone who got up and talked about the fact that we have done that by not seeing and not being taught stories of different paths and different lives and the privilege that we've had where we are, and learning a larger story. And he said, both sides think they can tell the other side who they are. Israeli Jews say there is no such thing as Palestinians, never was a Palestinian state, so let them go back to Saudi Arabia where they came from. And the Palestinians say the Quran says Judaism is not a religion, it is fake. These people don't need land, so go back to Europe where you came from. But after you listen to the other side tell their stories about who they are for weeks and for months, you begin to realize that you know nothing about who they are. You have to listen, and it is so hard to listen. But if you listen to them tell you who they are, then they may listen to you tell them who you are. If we listen enough to another's story, they may listen to ours. And that's how we change the world. And Jewish Israeli people who participate in Roots have learned that there is such a thing as the Palestinian people, and there is such a thing as the land of Palestine, and that the Palestinians belong to the land of Palestine. And the Palestinian participants learned that there is such a thing as Jewish people, and that there is such a thing as the land of Israel, that the Jewish people belong to the land of Israel. And here now, in the most excruciatingly difficult, the most gut-wrenching thing to learn, that the borders to the historical land of Israel and the borders to the historical land of the Palestinians are the exact same borders. Both people belong to the same piece of land. And you know what? Nobody is going anywhere. We keep waiting. Nobody is going anywhere, and neither people are leaving. Our message, the message of Roots, is that both Jews and Palestinians belong to the same land. We must both recognize that the other side's identity and the other side's belonging, we have to recognize them as human beings. We must find a way to fit two peoples into one land, and that begins with fitting two truths into one heart. Fitting two truths into one heart. According to our understanding, the political conflict between Jewish Israelis and the Palestinians is at its core a conflict over identity. We don't know each other, and we don't honor and respect each other. In order to solve the conflict, we must each overcome our ideas of exclusivity. And he said that is what is taking our world into a place we don't want to go. And we must learn to accept and recognize each other's identity and their rootedness in the land. You have a right to be here. You are a part of humanity. Through our grassroots, people-to-people peace building, Roots is preparing the union of parts for a settlement founded upon equality, freedom, human rights, dignity, and security for both peoples in that little sliver of land that we both call home. And I just wanted to share that with you. I know I went over and I apologize, but we're being called to find a place where our stories connect. And the little slivers that we live in, there's a larger story. The whole truth is not that you're the other and they're the other. The whole truth is that we are one humanity filled with spirit, and each of us has a path to walk. Accepting the other stories, looking in the eyes, and saying, you too belong in this world. Thank you. Oh. I think I finished it. Yes, through there somewhere. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. I took a long time. So thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to talk a long time. I know it's a long story, but I just invite us. We're going to receive our tithes and our love offerings right now. It's an opportunity for generosity. Part of what it was clear and was talked about was the need for a new economy in every country. And I believe what we do every week is we hold a space for that. We are so grateful for the giving. The reason that this community continues to be in this space and to move forward comes from the giving of people in this community. And I am eternally grateful for that. What we get to do now is we also get to hold a place in our hearts for a larger story of the economy, for one where all people are honored and all people have enough. There is enough. Those were some of the pieces we got to that I haven't even, I could do this for eons. I got more information than I have ever gotten in one place in 1 week in my life, and I'm so grateful for it, and it is large. So our blessing as we bless these offerings, and you can do it online. There's ways on that. There's a blue card in the back of the seat where you can give. If you're online, there's places you can give on our website. But the ability to hold that space happens with love. We get to replace the junk stuff that we have in our mind with I am love. I am worthy. I belong here. I am somebody. Jesse Jackson got up, and he was in a wheelchair right now, and he said, I am somebody. And Bobby Rush, the Black Panther, he's in his 80s, who would have died if he hadn't, he said, I forgot my underwear and went to Jesse Jackson's house, and they killed everybody in the house he was in that he had left. And he said, so I decided I must be here to help. And he's been a congressman from Chicago for 30 years and just retired. And he said, but Jesse Jackson taught me I am somebody. And I am somebody who has come to change my life in the world. And that's what I believe we are. So our blessing is divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I say, thank you, God. Thank you.
First light of the morning, the call of a whippoorwill, man's latest creation, the roar of the sea, the eye of a hurricane, a dance under the moonlight, touch of your tenderness, the pain living in me. Oh, I have searched far and wide, and what a scene, well, I cannot deny. Diversity, I honor, I applaud. Oh, yes, I say in everything I'll see the face of God. Oh, yeah. A child in motion, a chapel upon a hillside, the chant of a holy one, an eagle in flight, in a desert where nothing grows, that lotus upon the water, chant of a holy one, the love in your eyes. Yes, I've searched so far and wide, and what a scene I just cannot deny. Diversity, I honor, I applaud, yes, in everything I see the face of God. But there are times when life's not rolling, nothing's moving, nothing's flowing. God is on vacation. I couldn't see her if I try. I don't see holiness in anything. Thoughts I think, songs I sing. I'm frightened by the moments, and I'm spinning all around, round, 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 round. Ooh. Yes, yes. Confusion and chaos, and all the memories that I believe, a shot in the deep dark night, and that passion of love. Oh, tears running down your cheeks, a smile under the moonlight, the kiss of a generation, a push and a shove. Oh, I have searched so far and wide, and what I've seen I cannot deny. Diversity, well, I honor, I applaud, yeah, yeah, I say in everything, oh yes, in everything, in everything, I see the face of God. In everything, I see the face of God.
Thank you, thank you. Mark will be back with us next week doing both the message and the music. He's going to be with our kids, so I invite you to be with him. And I want to share with you the week after, Reverend Sylvia Hayes, who was one of the speakers at the Parliament of World Religions on sustainability and spirituality, will be speaking on Labor Day weekend. And then Reverend Sarah Nichols will be here talking about how do I know what I know, and she'll do a workshop on that. There's a registration there. That'll be the 10th of September. The 17th of September, our kids, our high schoolers, will be doing a service. I'll be back with them, and actually I think it involves more of our kids. And then I come back officially the 24th, and we will be starting our series right after that on living untethered and finding ways that we can see who we are and what we're doing so that we can open to a larger story. And part of that face of God that Mark is talking about is waiting out there to come in. And what we get to do is be a part of it, because you are the face of God, creating an energy field that recognizes the face of God in every one of these youth, because that's who they are, and we're here to remind them of that. So I just invite you to create that energy field of love into which they walk this morning.
Every step I take, it's the best one. Every move I make, it's the best one. Life will keep a rolling for just keeping knowing I'm always on the bright side, the sunny light side. Every step I take, come on now, is the best one. Every move I make, it's the best one. But life will keep a rolling for just keeping knowing I'm always on the bright side, the sunny light side. Come on, little sunshines, here we go. Sunshine, yes, I'm always in sunshine. Oh, I make my own sunshine. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo.
We did learn that song downstairs just a couple minutes ago. Some of us have been singing it for a few years, right, Mark? And Andala has something to share with us about this morning's lesson.
Today we made kindness stars for our family.
And I hear school starts in 8 days, so we are ready, and we see each of you having a journey of light, love, and knowing that you have a community who loves you and is with you all of your journey.
Raise your hands, which ones are going to camp?
Who's going to camp? All right, we've got kids going to camp this week. And part of that amazing experience at camp includes Mark, because he begins the day telling them they are the face of God. Before the workshops, he does it, and probably every other moment in between, which is a wonderful opportunity. So it's just a time for them to know who they are and be blessed. So as a community, what we do is we stand and we sing, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me." I invite you to create that firmness of knowing that we are holding a space for peace on this planet and a larger story. We do it, yes.
Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family are we, and let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment, live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
Oh, yes. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. We invite you to join us downstairs for our connection hour, a time to look in each other's eyes and hear our stories. We're going to close with our unity prayer, and then we're going to sing the kids out as they go back downstairs so parents can pick them up there. All right. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right, we're going to sing our youth out. Mark has CDs outside.
Every step I take, it's the best one. Be-do-do-do. Every move I make, it's the best one. Ba-do-do-do-do. Life will keep a-rolling, for just keep knowing I'm always on the bright side, the sunny light side. Every step I take, it's the best one. Ba-do-do-do. Every move I make, it's the best one. Life will keep a-rolling, for just keep knowing, well, I'm always on the bright side, the sunny light side. 5, 6, 7, sunshine, yes. I'm always in sunshine, yeah. I make my own sunshine. Ba-do, 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 ba-do. Ba-do, 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 ba-do.